Report to the nation from CBS World News, presented by 154 electric light and power companies.
You'll hear Captain Gordon Rao, skipper of the USS Ranger, the popular singer B. Wayne, Commander Gene Tunney,
and our reporter Quentin Reynolds with a review of history-making men and events in Report to the Nation. This program is brought to you every Wednesday by 154 business-managed electric light and power companies. Now, here is our reporter for CBS World News and Report to the Nation, the noted foreign correspondent, Quentin Reynolds.
Report to the Nation tells you first tonight is a good, healthy footnote to something that happened Easter Sunday of last year. It was April 25th of 1943 that the German radio popped off with more than its usual fervor. Achtung, Achtung, we are proud to announce that a German submarine has sunk the United States aircraft carrier Ranger in the North Atlantic. And now for some more news about our continued successful withdrawals from Russia. Well, what do you know? We've been sunk. Maybe we better go and tell the old man. Not me. I don't want to be within vocabulary range of Captain Rao. When he hears about this, he's going to be plenty sore. And Captain Gordon Rao of the Carrier Ranger was plenty sore. At first, the crew laughed off this phony story put out by the Germans. But then they began to realize that the story probably had been picked up by the British and American radio and press services, and that their families would worry. The next day, the Navy Department announced that the Ranger was still afloat, but a lot of Americans who had sons on the Ranger and other carriers were afraid there might have been some kind of attack on some carrier somewhere. But Lieutenant Otto von Bülow, the German sub-commander, apparently had made up the story out of ersatz cloth, and his face, now red, was straight when Hitler presented him with the Iron Cross with diamonds. Captain Rao kept planning and pleading for revenge, and last October, when the Ranger was part of a British home fleet off Bodo in northern Norway, he got his chance. "All right, Captain, you try it at dawn tomorrow, but I'm afraid you'll find only 1 or 2 targets." "Well, Admiral, even if we find only 1, it will be worth our while." Fighters, torpedo planes, and bombers took off in 2 sections just before the sun came up on the morning of October 5th and scoured the leads along the coast. Leads are channels, much like what we call inland waterways. And there was no shortage of targets. The Rangers' planes found an airfield they didn't expect and found tankers and merchantmen just sitting there and asking for it. They got it. "Charlie, there's a fat baby to starboard. Go on in and strafe and we'll follow you in." "Right, Joe. Haven't spotted her yet. Oak, there she is. See her tailer?" "Yep, Charlie. I'm right on your tail. Let's go." "Okay, A-Day. We're going in. Let this guy have 2 of them." "Okay, drop 'em." "Bombs away." "How'd we do, A-Day?" "Hits. They're beaching her and she's starting to smoke. Where do we go from here?"
That ship was the 8,900-ton freighter La Plata, outward bound with iron ore from Narvik. All in all, the Ranger's planes accounted for at least 40,000 tons of shipping that day. There weren't any enemy planes to get in the way, but there was real ack-ack. 3 of our planes were downed, and some of them go back to the carrier looking like cloth. One plane, whose landing gear had been shot away, came in on its belly. And then came the best part of any operation, the jawing that goes on in the wardroom afterward. Did you hear about Hutch? Well, he scores 2 near misses, see? So he's out of bombs. Only thing he's got is this 30 caliber pop gun. But he circles around and comes back and sprays the ship until he's completely out of ammo. And all the time the ack-ack is pumping away at him. Those Heine gun crews take a lot of licking. We put 3 bombs square on a ship called the Topeka, like in Kansas. She exploded and caught fire and started to sink. Well, sir, there was an ack-ack gunner aft who paid no attention. He just stood there by his gun, adjusting sights and firing until the ship sank. And that was the way it was. They'd been giving the enemy hell. Now, in individual cases, they were willing to give him credit. It was a proud bunch of boys there on that carrier. Most of them had had combat experience for the first time, and 40,000 tons of enemy shipping in the drink wasn't bad for a carrier that the enemy had claimed was sunk 5 months before. And now, Report to the Nation brings you in person Captain Gordon Rao, the skipper of the Ranger. We on the Ranger have put in a strenuous year. The North Atlantic and the Arctic Oceans have been ours as part of a task force of the Atlantic and the British Home Fleet. As Mr. Reynolds has told you, we've been a pretty lively ghost. The story that we were sunk was a coward's trick, spreading anxiety and fear among the innocent. We knew we were all right, but there were a lot of our relatives and our friends who didn't know it. That's why at Bodo we were so eager to make the enemy pay heavily for his lie. Well, we hit him hard and got out with a few losses. We spread panic and chaos in the Norwegian shipping lanes. Only one thing we regret. We kept looking for the Tirpitz, but either she wouldn't or couldn't come out. We may have a chance later to dig her out. But meanwhile, the Ranger, still very much afloat, is doing her job. And I'm grateful for the chance to say a word on behalf of the officers and men of the Ranger and the Ranger Air Group.
Report to the Nation.